What's going on, everybody? Classic Game Freak here,
Retired by choice?
and welcome to another episode of the Classically Retarded Show.
Yep, yep.
Tonight we're kind of talking about. I don't even know how to really lead into this. It's just going to be like freaking superhero video games.
Pretty much, yeah. I don't know about you, but I'd say probably a good 20 years of my life has been enveloped by different video games that have superhero characters, be it Spider-Man, Superman, Batman, Aquaman. There's games for just about every single character out there. And I know we were looking for topics a few weeks ago, and I just threw it out there as an idea, and the more and more I thought about it, I was like, wow, okay, there's actually a lot of games out there, good and bad, that are in the superhero vein. And I thought, why not? Let's do it.
Yeah, kind of pointing out some of our favorites that because there's so many. Like I'm sitting here just kind of pacing. And as you were even saying that, some were coming to mind, and I was just like, "Oh man, yeah, there was quite a few."
Oh yeah, yeah. When I was looking into this episode a little bit, just kind of doing a general uh, research, I mean, just Marvel Comics alone, the characters and the games that they had for the various systems and arcade is insane and staggering to see how many. I mean, just for like the Sega Genesis for X-Men, there's like 8 games.
Yeah, and I mean, don't get me wrong, most were not great, but there's a couple of shiny gems in there too.
Oh yeah, yeah. I mean, for every good one, there's probably 3 or 4 bad ones. But when you find that good one, is worth noting and definitely worth talking about.
And it's those games right there that just kept you kind of coming back, even to this day. As you said, 20 years, or shoot, 20 years later, you're still popping them into the Sega Genesis or the NES or Super Nintendo, what have you.
Yeah, I mean, just nostalgic wise, just thinking about the games. I mean, I think just the other day I was talking to someone about the original Batman for the NES, and it brought back a lot of memories. I mean, it was not one of my favorite games, but I mean, for what it was pretty good.
Yeah, and that I think that was one of the first superhero video games I had ever played.
I know it was the first one I owned, definitely.
Well, yeah, you know, and at that time, like Batman was kind of my first intro to kind of superheroes that I can remember. Like when the Batman movie came out, and then playing that on the NES, dude, that was just so cool that it was all based off that movie, and it just blew my mind.
Oh yeah, definitely. I mean, I think the big draw for me was being able as a 12-year-old to sit down and actually drive the Batmobile. That was a big selling point for me because I mean, who doesn't want to drive the Batmobile?
Apparently, a lot of people do since they're coming out with what was it, Arkham Knight 2015.
I know that it makes me mad because well, I'm excited because I love the Arkham series. It's probably one of the best Batman series to ever come out for any system ever. I mean,
Hands down.
gameplay is flawless. The graphics are great, and the story is actually very intriguing. I mean, even from like Arkham Asylum, Arkham City, even Arkham Origins. I mean, it's not my favorite of the 3 games out, but it's still a good game.
Right.
But with it coming out next year, Arkham Knight is strictly current con, so I have to upgrade my systems.
I forgot about that.
Yeah, that's why I'm a little angry because it's like, oh come on, show a little bit of love to the 360 guys. But I guess it's time for me to upgrade anyway. So uh, that's probably gonna be the game I buy for whichever system I decide to buy for.
Oh, the great console war debate.
Yeah, there's pros, there's cons. I know back when we did our first E3 episode, I was staunchly against the Xbox One. But now as time's gone on, I don't want to lose all my achievements. That's the big drawback for me is I don't want to lose any of my achievements. So I'm seriously considering Xbox One for my next console, but it's not decided yet. I'm gonna have to go through and look at all the exclusives for the various systems and then decide from there. But I'll say here right now that the Wii U is not in my wheelhouse at all. So
Well, I feel they just need to come out with some better games before that happens for me. I'm not sold with Zelda. I'm not sold with Smash Brothers or Mario Kart or anything like that. So I feel you.
right. I mean, maybe if I was a 10-year-old, the Wii U would be more I don't know, more applicable. But me being 38 years old, in the twilight of my life, I don't have time for cutesy games and shit like that anymore.
Yeah, got to keep it strictly on the badassery of violent video games.
I want to blow shit up.
There you go. Yeah, that's why I play Grand Theft Auto. Yeah.
I want to kill things, steal money, and blow shit up.
Yeah, go get yourself a hooker, go kill her, steal the money, end up getting a wanted rating, go start blowing cop cars up. And that totally makes me a bad person.
Hey, that is exactly how I live my life on a daily.
That's just how I roll in real life, son.
I'm punching hookers and I'm blowing shit up.
But oh man, well, I mean, there's a big draw to the PS4, I should say. You know, your boy is playing on a PS4,
I
and
know, I know. That is a big check in the pro category. But I don't know, man. I've been looking at the Sunset Overdrive, and that
yeah,
game is blowing me away, is what I've seen, and it's an Xbox One exclusive. And then, of course, they have the Dead Rising series, another Xbox One exclusive. And I love zombie games, but the Dead Rising series I really enjoy. There's something about being able to just create weapons of any and various kinds of styles and just destroy zombies, just hordes of zombies. And I don't know.
that's true. I'll share that my what I call my YouTube pin now is from I think it was last month's Loot Crate or the month before last, and it is a Dead Rising weapon. It's a sledgehammer with a big old saw on the other end. You take the saw off, and it's actually the tip of the pin. So that sits underneath my monitor at all times. And anytime I start writing stuff down for my YouTube videos or for this show, that's the pen I use. That's like religiously the pen I use now.
See, and you don't get that kind of zombie killing action in a game like Dead Island or Resident Evil. There's something about the feel, the I don't know, the gameplay of the game is just so awesome. The first game reminds me so much of that George A. Romero movie, Dawn of the Dead.
Yeah,
I mean, and I love that movie. That's my favorite zombie movie of all time, hands down. And so when I heard that they're making a game for the 360 that is pretty much the same premise, I was like, I gotta get me a copy of that game. And that was actually not the first game I got for the 360, but it was like one of the first used games I bought for the 360.
I'll agree with you on that. When I got my 360, that's whenever I started dabbling with GameFly, and like the first or second game I rented with them, I think it was actually the first, was Dead Rising, and the fact that you could literally mow down zombies with a big old lawnmower, or you could sit there and try to beat them over the head with a stuffed teddy bear, or
Yeah.
put a Lego head on their heads and have watch them aimlessly walk around, was just freaking fantastic and hilarious to me. So, yeah, I will say that there are good games, but thankfully, it's like Dead Rising 3 isn't really technically an Xbox One exclusive. It is on PC, and any chance I can with that, I'm always like, yes, PC.
Yeah, but we're talking consoles. We're talking Xbox One exclusive.
Yeah, yeah, true. You're not going to see it on PS4.
No, no. That's an
But
exclusively Microsoft property.
so yeah, that is true. So uh, well, is it? Because I mean, Dead Rising 2 did come out on the PS3.
It did, but now it's back on the Microsoft Xbox One as an exclusive. Now, I never played the PS3 version. Have you?
No, I actually played I think a demo of Dead Rising 2 and that was it. Um, because like the saving stuff, the way you saved your game and everything in the first one was so tedious and annoying. I didn't even finish it. So the second one, by that point, I really didn't want to touch the second one. I mean, I like the endless zombie killing, but at the same time, it to me did get a little repetitive. So I'm still kind of burnt out.
Ah, okay. I was gonna say, I know for me it's enjoyable. There's one section or one part of the game where you're kind of in like an underground garage area, and it's just like horde after after horde of these zombies, and the greatest satisfaction is getting into a vehicle and just doing donuts in the parking lot, taking out all these zombies.
And I did that just to get the achievement, the kill 46,000 zombies or whatever it was.
Yeah, yep.
So the only bummer part to that was when the car would actually break down and you'd have to get out of the car in the middle of a swarm of zombies. That was annoying.
Yeah, that was a little difficult, but the parking lot had a couple of vehicles you can get into, so you can just keep the carnage and mayhem going.
Right. Well, for me, I like zombie games. I mean, zombies are a little overplayed these days, but um, the game that I really got into because it does kind of remind me of The Walking Dead to a degree. Daisy, it's actually on the PC right now. I know it's not console. We're talking consoles and everything, but uh, the survival aspect of Daisy is awesome.
Hmm.
So I mean, you need other players to give you a blood transfusion and things like that if you're bleeding out. It's just stuff like that is creative. Scavenging for a can of baked beans. Uh, that's cool. You don't know if another player is friend or foe. They can say they're a friend, but then stab you in the back the next minute to steal what items you have. You have a flashlight, you better not be showing that stuff because they could just totally gank you for it.
That's crazy.
So yeah, it's got a serious kind of Walking Dead feel to it because the zombies aren't exactly your biggest threat.
Right. Well, yeah, that's is the drawing point of The Walking Dead is that the dead is obviously an enemy, but they're not the most dangerous enemy you're going to come across.
Yeah, and I mean they've shown that in the comics and the show and all that. And I mean, I know we're talking superhero games and everything, but I mean, also, I'd like to give a little shout out to comic book games too. And I mean, The Walking Dead, you know, they did good with that and um, made a good game. The Telltale games are freaking fantastic, and I won't say the same thing about the one that came out with about the Dixon brothers.
Yeah, that is not a good game.
It had so much promise and flopped so hard.
Yep, I went out and bought it. I thought I was gonna love it, but man, that game sucked.
Yeah, the what was it? I think it was Angry Joe on YouTube that did a review, and it was showing just how dumb the zombies were. Like they would just stand there and just take blows to the head. Just it was bad. Just yeah, no. So but still, I want to give that props. The Telltale games on that. So
Yeah, the first one was amazing. I mean, um, I did the pre-order for the special collector's edition that comes with the it's like the first 50 issues of the comic, and it comes in this big ass box. I did an unboxing on it on my channel a while ago, and actually, if you watching my videos, you can probably see it sitting on a shelf above my head. But that first game, I played it just like almost completely through in one sitting, and it was just emotionally draining. You really cared about those characters.
Yeah. I'm ashamed that I never actually completely finished it.
Oh my God, dude! If you finish that game, you'll cry.
Well, I know what happens,
But
but
you might know what happens, but you have to experience it.
exactly, because I know in those games everybody remembers what you say. Any lies you might have told, you better stick with them. You'll get called out if you don't. Things like that. So it's really neat the way they did that. But I digress. Going back to like superheroes and so on, Batman was fantastic. That game, I remember going over to my friend's house. Like he was, my first friend in grade school and so on, and he's like, I got Batman, and you wanna try it out? And I was like, what, Batman? Yeah, I gotta try this. And I remember like the first level. I can remember the music. I can remember just everything about it, and just to this day, it still just puts me in a good spot with good memories.
Yep. Yeah, that was definitely a game that I associate with my youth. It came out in like what 1990.
Something like that, yeah.
Yeah, a little bit after the movie's already been out, but I mean, I remember getting the game and seeing that Batman logo on the box and going, okay, this is gonna be good. And like I said, it's not my favorite superhero game of all time. It's not even like my favorite Batman game of all time, but it's definitely got some strong memories associated with it.
Yeah, well, especially for like NES, it's definitely a contender as far as NES goes because I can't really think of any other good superhero NES title like that was actually tight like Batman was.
Right. Yeah, well, the NES was not really known for a real cohesive storyline for most of their games. Well, graphics weren't the greatest, but it's definitely a step up from any previous system. I don't think we got any really good superhero titles until we started getting into the disc-oriented systems like the PS1 and the Saturns and things of that nature.
Yeah, I will agree. Well, actually, the X-Men games weren't all too bad on the Sega Genesis. X-Men 2 was pretty good. Like the Wolverine game, was it Wolverine or was it just X-Men on the NES was god awful.
I thought they were both pretty bad.
The ones on the Sega Genesis, the fact that they kind of got creative with like the second X-Men, where you actually it told you to reset the system and everything, I thought that was creative. I thought that was actually kind of neat. So there was that. One big one that I think you'll more than likely agree with me on, as far as Sega Genesis goes, is the Punisher.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah, definitely. Anything Punisher oriented, I'm gonna say it's the best thing ever.
it could be crappy as hell, but it's the Punisher. It's good, damn it.
I'm a huge Punisher fan. I got long boxes of comics down in my garage that's nothing but Punisher. I mean, old school Punisher from the 70s, 80s, the more modern series. Plus, my first tattoo ever was the Punisher War Skull.
Oh damn.
So, I mean, I'm a Punisher fanatic. So anything that comes out as Punisher, I'm gonna get.
Not to change the topic or anything, like not to skew too far from it. I gotta ask you because I'm really curious, and if I don't ask right now, I'll forget.
Okay.
What was your Punisher of choice as far as movies went?
Actually, if you want to be serious about this, my favorite Punisher movie is the Warzone, Punisher Warzone.
Thank you, Ray Stevenson.
Yeah, a lot,
Okay.
a lot of people might think it's cartoony, but if you follow the series at all, I mean, it is pretty much spot on with the comic series.
Yeah, I really agree with that because like if you were to compare all yeah, it was three different movies.
Hmm.
Dolph Lundgren, he really gave it a good shot. He kind of embodied the Punisher, but I don't know. There was still something missing. It was still really cheesy.
I know what was missing. His iconic skull. That's what was missing.
That's true. That's true. And then you had the Punisher with John Travolta, and then you had Thomas Jane playing him. Which Thomas Jane, I know he wanted to play the part well, but I'm sorry, the writing was horrible in that, and to have a big, load up scene, like he was loading his guns and everything, and then nothing happened till the end of the movie. It was just kind of like, what?
Yeah, but a lot of the story from that movie does come from the comic series as well.
Yeah.
The origin story part that's from the comic. A lot of the scenes with the neighbors that comes from the comic. The John Travolta thing, not too much, but the Big Russian, he was definitely in the comics.
Yeah, I remember when that movie was gonna be coming out, and they were like, "Yeah, they got Kevin Nash to play, the Russian and everything." I was like, "What? Holy crap!" And I saw screenshots of him, and I was like, "Yes." But I mean, that scene seemed so short to me because that was the best. That was the best part of the whole movie, I thought. Like I said, Thomas Jane, he really wanted to give it, a good shot, and he embodied what the Punisher is, but I don't know. Now, there was a YouTube video he had made and paid for and produced called like The Laundry or The Laundromat or something like that, where it was supposed to be kind of the Punisher, but yet it wasn't. But it was gory, it was graphic as hell, and he did a really good job for it being just on YouTube and like in his own time.
I didn't see that. I'm gonna have to look that up after the show.
Yeah, because I mean, there's some punks that start some trouble, and he ends up taking care of it. Bloody.
Nice.
So that, like, if I'll have to just send you this link to it. He brought it out a couple years ago. It was good. But Ray Stevenson played a really good Punisher. The writing was on par with the comic books, and a lot of people were like, that movie was crap, and I'm like, well, go read the comics.
Right. Yeah, that's the thing. A lot of people, they only associated Thomas Jane as a Punisher, so when it switched over to the new guy, they're like, nope, that's not the Punisher. Nope, this is crap. It's too cartoony. It's like, well, if you read the comic books, you understand that this is how he is in the comics, well, the newer comics at least. That's how he is. That's how the Punisher is.
Yeah.
And he looks so much like the cover art Punisher. I mean, if you look at the cover art they do for those comics, it's gorgeous. And you look like the physical embodiment of the Punisher from those comic book covers.
Yeah. And that's one thing I respected instantly from it was the fact that they got this guy. He wasn't, I mean, he's not really well known or anything. At that time Thor wasn't out yet. He hadn't really been in anything familiar. And I was like, who's this guy? This guy's cool looking, but I'm hoping the movie's going to be as good as I think it's going to be. And I mean, don't get me wrong, it was a flop, but I mean, to people who can respect it for what it was freaking great.
It was awesome. And I love the Rob Zombie title track.
Yeah.
That's a great song.
And that's what it needed. That from the get-go was the feel for the movie. I'm sorry, Rob Zombie on there? Yeah.
Oh yeah, it's definitely worth the price of admission.
So there you go. But the Punisher, I think the three movies were good, okay? But I mean, like, I remember, like, I really didn't know too much about the Punisher in my younger days. Back when, like I said, Dolph Lundgren was playing him, I had seen the movie, but I didn't know he was really like a comic book character. It wasn't until like 1995 when I actually played the Punisher on the Sega Genesis that I really started kind of paying attention to his character and started reading the comic books. And I remember seeing that was my first view of Nick Fury.
Yeah, Nick Fury was in a lot of the Marvel comics, especially the Punishers, back in the mid to late '90s.
Yeah, well, and I remember that, and just seeing Nick Fury as kind of a middle-aged guy. Ran Shield, and I was like, okay, okay, what's Shield, and kind of looked into it a little bit more and everything. And then I heard that they were, I don't even remember how I heard it because I was barely on the internet, but I heard that they were going to do a movie and it was going to be on Fox. I was like, oh, okay, what's this? And then it turns out it was freaking David Hasselhoff playing Nick Fury.
Yeah.
So if everybody that's listening, anybody listening doesn't realize that Nick Fury was once a white guy. Yeah, old freaking David Hasselhoff. The Hoff himself played Nick Fury very badly, I might add.
Wait a second. Are you saying David Hasselhoff is a bad actor?
Um, I'm just saying he played Nick Fury bad. I actually like Knight Rider, even though he's not good in that either. But and I've got to put out there, if you've never seen the movie or heard of the movie Stretch, I recommend it because he plays himself in there, and he is a cocky bastard in it. And it's just like, yes, that's what the Hoff needs to be.
I've never even heard of that movie.
It's got oh, what's his name? The dude that played the owl guy off The Watchmen.
Okay.
I don't know if you saw that or not.
Oh yeah, I seen that. I love that movie.
Yeah, Patrick Wilson, I think it is. Patrick Wilson. It's got Jessica Alba in it. Obviously David Hasselhoff. Trying to think of any other big name actors in there, but it's a good movie. If you got Netflix, it's on Netflix. It's a video on demand movie, but it's by the director of, I don't know if you saw Smoking Aces or not, but Smoking Aces.
Right. Okay.
So, but anyway, back to what I was talking about, the Punisher. Yeah. Great game. Was an arcade game to begin with, beat 'em up like Final Fight, and it was one of those games I fell in love with and just like couldn't stop playing, couldn't set it down.
Right. See, I missed it the first time it came around when it first got released in '95. Only because '95 I just graduated high school and was living in my first apartment and was about to join the Navy. So I was kind of in that weird limbo where things are coming out, but I'm not really aware of it because, life.
Yeah, right. Like you've got plenty of distractions to begin with. Video games
Exactly.
shouldn't be in the way.
Right, and plus, being 18, living on your own, you're not too worried about comic books and video games. You're trying to get with the ladies.
Yeah, well, that depends on who you are, I guess. I mean, if your priority's video games, then hey, more power to you. But that was the case with me too. 18 years old. Yeah, I was more interested in other things than video games. Don't get
Yep.
me wrong, video games were still there, and I still loved my fair share. But I'm sorry if there was something else going on. There was just something else going on.
Oh yeah.
But the Punisher on the Sega Genesis was freaking great. As you said, there wasn't really many great superhero games until the PS1 and the Saturn.
Right.
And one huge one for me um, was X-Men: Children of the Atom.
Yes, sir. Thank you for bringing that up. That's probably my favorite arcade game of all time.
It's up there for me. Just how gorgeous that game is, how well animated it was. Just the fact that you could, pit Wolverine versus freaking Silver Samurai, or, Psylocke or freaking Cyclops or oh
Yep, I always use these are the two characters I always use in that game. I always use Wolverine or I used Iceman.
oh man, that is me too. Because Iceman had that way over the top super combo where you just like launch ice block after ice block at his enemy, hit him for like 40 hit combo.
Yes, sir. That's the one.
And then Wolverine, he played like Ryu off of Street Fighter. He had the same the way you could use the attacks. The down to forward, quarter moon attack, or you could do the what was it? The Hurricane Claw, I think it was.
Yeah,
It
Hurricane
was
Claw and the Berserker Barrage.
Yeah, I always love that. Berserker Barrage. Berserker Barrage. I play against people who'd spam the hell out of that, and that's all you'd hear
Yep,
during the entire match.
yep, yep. I know exactly what you mean.
And then you
Just
had
over and over and over. And you're like, okay, I get it. You know that one move. Stop.
and then Iceman was always Ice Beam,
Yeah,
Ice Beam, Ice Beam. So yeah. That game defined like the Sega Saturn for me. Like I said, the graphics, it was still that cartoony look, but the colors were so vibrant in that game, and it like really helped me want to know more about those characters too. Like I was like, man, I'm playing Iceman. I gotta look up some comics with him in there. Just I don't know. It was a great game, but it was difficult as hell too.
yeah,
So
that
and
was.
a fun one to play against everybody.
Oh yeah, yeah. Even if you weren't a Marvel comics kind of guy, uh, you could still find a character in that lineup that you just wanted to play constantly. And for 98% of the population out there, it was Wolverine.
Yeah, it's kind of like the whole Street Fighter Ken or Ryu type thing. It's like everybody plays them.
Right. I used to use Baka.
Baka in
Street Fighter.
I don't remember him.
Wasn't he the green guy?
Oh, Blanca or Blanca.
Blanca.
Yeah, I was like, what? Who?
Jeez. Yeah,
Boo.
brain fart.
No, yeah, his. I remember when I first started playing Street Fighter, I'd first seen it. It's like I found out that he could do that damn electrical charge. I was just like, I was spamming the hell out of that.
Yeah, that's
And then,
one of my favorite moves in the whole entire game.
and then I found out about Dhalsim and the fact that like you could punch across the stage. I was like, holy shit, Stretch Man.
Yeah, he was also another favorite.
There you go. But then I learned about Ryu and that I was really good with him and went from him, went to Ken for a while, went to let's see, who else did I use in that game? Chun-Li was kind of cool because she could do that, the fast kick, but I got out of that really quick.
Right. I got into Vega for a little bit.
I liked him because I thought he looked cool, but I could never get into him. Like I wanted to use the claw so bad, but I just could not get into him.
Right. No, yeah, he definitely looked cool, and he had the cool claw moves. But yeah, I used mostly Blanca.
Do that roll across the stage, knock him out, use the charge on him.
Yep, yep.
You
That's
cheap
my
bastard.
that's my MO.
You cheap bastard.
Yeah, what can I say?
So, any from like early gaming days to about the Sega Saturn, any notable mentions?
Yeah, actually, one of the first superhero games I ever played in the arcade was Captain America and the Avengers.
Okay.
You ever play that?
I have once or twice, but I really couldn't tell you what it was about. I don't remember.
It's basically just a side-scrolling beat 'em up. Um, you play as either Captain America, Iron Man, Hawkeye, or the Vision, which to me kind of missed the point of the Avengers because there's so many great characters you could have chosen from, but those are the four that they decided to put into the game. But God, I used to play it all the time in the arcade because it was one of the few games that they had at the bowling alley where I lived, and I'd just sit there and play forever. And then it did come out for the NES, not as good, and they brought it out in I think 1992 for the Sega Genesis also.
I'm gonna have to check it out.
Yeah,
What?
it's definitely worth at least a playthrough or two, but I mean, it's not real great, but for what it was at the time, it was pretty good.
Okay. Now you say it was a side-scrolling beat 'em up. Was it like the X-Men arcade game or?
Kind of, yeah, but not as good. The X-Men arcade game was excellent.
Okay, I get the feeling that's one you were gonna mention.
Yeah, yeah, it's definitely here in my notes.
See, I know you're the man with the notes. I'm literally standing here in my kitchen with like no notes whatsoever.
You're
So,
all well prepared.
hey, I can talk a mean game.
Yes, sir. Sure can. But there's that one. My favorite game is Marvel Superheroes. It came out a little bit after the X-Men Children of the Atom,
Hmm.
and it came out in arcades in '95. It came out for the PS1, Sega Saturn in '97, and it's loosely based on the Infinity Gauntlet storyline from the X-Men comics. And that was a great game because it incorporated more of the characters from the Marvel series, like Spider-Man and the Hulk. Um, but it also had a lot of the characters from the X-Men, like the Cyclops and Wolverine.
So you can spam the shit out of the Berserker Barrage again.
Berserker Barrage.
I remember wanting to play that. I remember playing it and like I loved Iron Man already. But I did not like him at all as a fighter in that game. I don't know what it was.
Well, his weapons weren't that great. He had the what was it? The grenades that popped out of his hands. He did have that one optic blast move that was like killer if you couldn't block it or get out of the way of it. But if you were stuck in it, damn,
Yeah.
he's like a 52 hit move or something like that.
Yeah, it just kept going and going and going.
Yeah,
It's kind of like Iceman's, I'm not gonna lie.
yeah, it's pretty much the same damn thing. It's just with the Iron Man skin on it.
Right. And it's just more of a like a focused blast look.
Right, but the cool thing about the game is that you can bring in like your partner, so you can do a combo move where like if you're Spider-Man and Wolverine, you got yourself your Berserker Barrage, and Spider-Man will come swinging in on his web and do a kick or two.
Yeah. And one thing that was a game changer in that was the gems you could pick up.
Oh yeah,
I thought.
I love the Hyperstone.
Yeah. So there you go. Like, and for the longest time, I thought they were pretty much the same game. Then I started realizing, the stones, and they're just, yeah, really changed it up a little bit. Made you go after something a little bit more. It changed it enough for me to be like, huh, this is new and interesting.
Oh yeah, yeah, definitely. But I think during that time, Capcom just released a bunch of really great Marvel properties, like the Marvel superheroes, the X-Men Children of the Atom, X-Men versus Street Fighter, uh, Marvel versus Capcom series. I mean, that's a great series right there too.
Yeah. And endless amounts. I mean, they kind of look the same, but I don't know. There was always just a different skin, but they were all so appealing. I wanted to play them all.
When Xbox 360 got on the Xbox Live, the Marvel vs. Capcom series on there, I went out immediately and got it, and it plays pretty much the same as the Xbox version, but I mean, just being able to have it there, and you get two versions. You get the Marvel vs. Capcom 2, and you get God, what's the other one? I want to say it's the Marvel Superheroes. So it's kind of like a two-pack for one price.
Right. I wanted to get it. I just never got around to actually playing it on like 360 or anything like that.
It's definitely worth a pickup. I mean, if you don't have the money to go pick up the physical copies, they're like uber expensive. Then go pick up, this $10 version that's got two copies of two games in one. Can't go wrong.
Yeah. If you're buying it to collect it, then hey, be prepared to spend a little bit of money. But I mean, if you're just buying it to play it, $10 is definitely the way to go.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. Well, the price on the Marvel vs. Capcom 2, it used to be like uber expensive, like $60 or $70. Now it's come down to about, I think it's like about 25, $30 now.
Oh, has it?
Yeah, it's come down because they released that Marvel vs. Capcom 3 a couple years ago, and once they did that, the price just fell.
Wow, cause I remember that being like $80.
Oh yeah, it was one of those games like, wow, that's insane. And I was lucky enough to find a copy over the Goodwill for like $5. I was like, oh my god, I got it for the Xbox. This is awesome. But then almost as soon as I bought it, it's like, oh nope, it's coming down now.
Never mind, that ain't cool no more.
Not that cool anymore. Jeez. Thanks, America.
It'd be nice if that was the case for like some old NES games, some that are ridiculously high now, hundreds of dollars. I want to play uh, what is it, Bubble Bath Babes? I want to play that sometime. I want to play a real cartridge of that sometime, damn it.
You're gonna be paying some big bucks for that one, sir. Unless you find one randomly strewn somewhere in some Goodwill or waterfront somewhere.
That's what I need to do. That's what I need to find right there. So so but going back real quick before we get off the topic of like X-Men and so on. The arcade game, like the X-Men arcade beat 'em up game. Like I know that Ninja Turtles was doing their thing. They had done the kind of side-scrolling beat 'em up freshly. But X-Men came out and I fell in love with that cabinet, the dual screen 6-player cabinet.
Yeah, yeah, that was definitely a draw. Having that huge machine in an arcade or a bowling alley or at some random 7-Eleven, and there's already kids on the machine. You're waiting for your turn so you can play as Wolverine or Cyclops or uh, it was just one of those great games. It was a fun game, and you could easily just waste $10 on that machine without even thinking about it.
Yeah. And even to this day, even though the game's old and everything, it still holds a charm to it. And I still get giddy when I see one of those 6-player cabinets. It's just, I don't know, just overwhelming joy.
Oh yeah, definitely. You don't see too many of those kind of machines anymore. And back in I guess the early '90s is when there was a lot of those machines, the 4-player, the 6-player, and it was like, wow, it's amazing that you can get that many elbows together to play a game.
Yeah, and even though the cabinet was big, yeah, you were still crammed pretty tightly in between people, unless you were on one of the outside sticks, I guess. But then again, I never wanted to be on the outside there either because I don't know, you kind of had to tilt your head and twist your neck a little bit to see the screen. It's just
Yeah,
I don't know.
yeah. Plus, if you had any kind of gathering around you, it was always on the edges.
Yeah, and that's why I'm really grateful that Wolverine was kind of one of the inside control panels, like almost right smack dab in the middle. I think he was like the third one from the left. So he was right there in the middle.
Oh yeah, yep. And he was always the one that had the longest line.
Yeah, because I really never wanted to play as Storm or did they have Psylocke as a playable character on that?
Um, I don't remember exactly. I know they had Colossus.
Yeah, which I mean, they had Nightcrawler.
Yep.
Eh, eh,
Yeah.
still, still not as badass as Wolverine, you know.
Yeah. Sure.
Cyclops.
Cyclops wasn't bad. He had that eye beam thing, but still not a favorite.
Yeah, Wolverine still hands down.
I think the only thing that could make that game better is if they had Rogue or Gambit.
No, they didn't, did they?
Mm-mm. No, the Genesis X-Men game had Gambit.
Man, yeah, that would have been really awesome if they would have had Gambit.
Oh yes, sir.
All right, speaking of Gambit, let's go to a movie thing here for just a second.
All right.
Channing Tatum playing Gambit.
I think they get better acting from a rock.
I'm gonna say that the guy that they had in Wolverine, the X-Men's Origins Wolverine, I think that was fine. They he,
Yeah.
he played it okay. I didn't have a problem with him playing Gambit, but Channing Tatum, really?
He just needs to stop acting. He's not very good at acting. Um, and he seems to be just popping up in everything, and I'm getting tired of it.
Well, I don't really have a problem with him. Like I like the Jump Street movies. You know, it seems like he has some fun doing the movies, and that I mean that's great for comedy movies. But he doesn't seem like he can play serious roles all that well. Like I I watched oh, what was that stupid movie?
Don't say the vow.
The what?
Don't say the vow. Tell me you didn't watch the vow.
I did not watch The Vow.
There you
I've
go.
never heard of The Vow.
It's the one where he's married to I want to say Amy Adams, and she's got amnesia, and he's got to try to convince her that they're married and that they love each other and blah 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 blah.
Wow.
Yeah.
No. No. What it was not Olympus Has Fallen, but it was the one with
White House Down.
yeah. Or was that the name of it?
The
It was
one,
something like that.
the one with Ray.
Yeah, Jamie Foxx is the president.
Yeah, that's White House Down.
Yeah, that no. No.
That's pretty cheesy.
Just yeah, no.
I'm here for an interview for Secret Service. Oh, I didn't get it. Uh-oh. Those terrorists now? I gotta say the president.
I bet you get that job now.
I better get the first best position in that job. Oh yeah,
Yeah.
by the way, guys, spoilers.
Yeah, yeah. I'm gonna. Yeah, no, I can't do it anymore. No on Channing Tatum as Gambit. They should have just kept freaking John Carter from Mars as Gambit. I think he did fine. So yeah,
Right. If he had to be in a X-Men movie, I'd much rather see him as like a Colossus, because he kind of has that look about him, like, I'm a dumb Russian.
he's a bigger guy. I mean,
Yeah, he's not small like Gambit is.
yeah, and Gambit has a kind of a more petite figure.
Yeah, he's a lot slender, and he's just got a swagger about him, kind of like I don't know, there's like a devil may care kind of attitude. He's just there for comic fodder almost.
Yeah, and once again, the guy that they had playing him, like he hasn't really done much of anything since Battleship, okay, and that was another just bad one, okay. I mean,
I was gonna say this now. Don't make movies based on board games. It just can't work.
or games like Tetris.
Oh God, don't get me started on that.
Yeah, and
Mm,
if you all are listening and you're like, what? They ain't gonna make a movie on Tetris. Yes, they are making a
They're,
movie based
yeah,
on Tetris.
they're making a goddamn Tetris movie. Might as well make a Columns movie too, or hey, how about a Jeweled movie? Let's do that too.
Right.
How about
Yeah.
a Candy Crush movie? That'd be great.
Oh God. What's sad is I could see that one coming to fruition. Like, I don't understand why that's such a popular game, but apparently it is. So
I'm just thankful we don't have an Angry Birds movie yet, but I'm sure that's in the works.
it is in the works, actually. It is.
God.
But the one thing I want to point out real quick before we lose sight of it is, like, he did the Call of Duty Advanced Warfare commercial, and it was all like a live action. It's like it's supposed to be your character, I guess, gets punched in the face. He comes up and ends up punching the dude through a door. He's like, "Wipe that punch off, soldier," or "Wipe that punch off your face, soldier." And it's just like him telling you what you got to do and where you need to go. And it was a fun commercial, and like the way he carries himself in that whole commercial, I was like, "That's freaking Gambit."
Is that the same commercial where your character is making out with a goat?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, I've seen it.
Yeah, that I love that commercial. It's just well done. Once again, I digress
Digression.
because I know we're trying to keep this at a at an hour. I know you've got some editing ahead of you, and we've got Christmas coming up.
Yep. It's Christmas time.
Oh yeah, Christmas time once a year.
Thank God it's only once a year. I can't do this more than once.
I'm ready for the Woodland Critter Christmas blood
Um,
orgy.
oh, jeez.
Drink his blood, drink his blood. Anyway,
Speaking of
uh,
blood orgies, did you play the Deadpool game?
I have played some of it, yes.
Not a bad game.
Deadpool, yeah. I didn't really play it for the combat or anything like that. I don't know about you, but I was down to play that simply because Nolan North voices a mean Deadpool.
Yeah, I was kind of hoping that the humor would be a little bit more I don't know, more fierce, more what I expect of the character because he's slightly insane to say the least.
What? Wait a minute. Did you just say that Deadpool was slightly insane?
Just slightly,
Just a little bit?
just a smidge off course. Yeah, just a little bit.
Okay, we're gonna stick with that, I guess. Different voices in your head, breaking the fourth wall, knowing that you're a comic book character. That's just slightly insane.
Slightly, just a smidge, just a just a touch over the edge.
Yeah. Okay. Okay.
But I don't know. Did you ever play any of the Spider-Man games like for the previous generation?
No, I think the only real Spider-Man game, the two off the top of my head, would be the Spider-Man game that was on Sega CD. I don't remember the full name of that. I just remember the Kingpin being the bad guy in it.
Yeah, yeah,
And then Maximum Carnage on the Sega Genesis.
right. Well, there was a game that came out for like Xbox and GameCube and PS2. It was the Ultimate Spider-Man, and if I'm remembering it correctly, there's a whole entire scene where Deadpool is one of the bosses, and the character in that game is just so completely off the wall that it's like, okay, that is the Deadpool character to a T. He's basically hosting a game show out in the middle of the ocean on an oil rigger, and you gotta try to I want to say disarm bombs, but I could be off a little bit. But it's just like, wow, okay, this is perfect. This is just like the comic books, exactly. And then when I played the newest game, the solo Deadpool game, it's entertaining, it's fun, but I don't know, it doesn't seem like the whole entire character is being embodied the way that I envisioned it based on the previous installment.
I mean, they really gave it a good shot. I still enjoy it for what it is, and the fact that like even an unconscious Wolverine just being punched continuously by Deadpool just because you want him to, and he continues to rant on and rave as he's punching Wolverine.
Yeah,
Just
that's definitely funny and entertaining, but I wanted to get a little bit more of the lunatic fringe of the character.
well, you better be happy with that because the movie that they're working on is only going to be PG-13. So
What?
you didn't hear about that
Come on. Stop yanking me around. It's gotta be rated X.
for
NC-17.
17, unrated.
They better come out with an unrated version on DVD or Blu-ray because if this is PG-13 strictly, it's gonna suck.
Yeah, first off, Ryan Reynolds apparently is indeed playing Deadpool once again. So that's a bummer in itself. And then the director said he wanted it to be PG-13 because it needs to appeal to multiple audiences, which means a younger audience. So he doesn't really want Deadpool to be Deadpool.
But he is Deadpool. That's the thing. He killed the Marvel universe. I mean,
Yeah,
that's what he does. He's insane. He kills things. He eats chimichangas. That's his fucking thing.
there you go, right? And they're doing this movie PG-13. I don't know what they're thinking, but I mean, if you want a pretty mostly raunchy Deadpool, the Deadpool game is the way to go.
Yep. Apparently. Oh God. Why? Why, God, in the love of everything that's holy, why get the fuck with my characters?
Trust me, Deadpool is one of my top favorite Marvel characters, and for them to rape him like that, it's soul crushing.
Come on, might as well make the Punisher a gardener.
The Punisher goes out and shoots nothing.
He shoots daisies. That's what he does.
So yeah, yeah. It's sad.
God, it
Uh,
is a sad time in comic book history.
so you brought up Deadpool. I'm gonna go ahead. I want to get to a little bit of violence here because I know we're running out of time, and I want to bring up one game. Even though we've technically already talked a lot about this character and talked about him and talked about how violent he is. Well, I don't think we talked about how violent he is, but we're talking about the Punisher.
Yay, the Punisher!
Always a great topic.
Great
And
topic.
I might add, I'm going to a couple of cons this year, and I'm so going to cosplay as the Punisher.
Nice.
I'm the chubby Punisher, okay? I'm I will never be as toned as the Punisher in the comic book or anything like that, but hell, I'm gonna put on a damn good show, okay?
That's all
So,
that matters, man.
but anyway, the Punisher on the Xbox, PS2, PC, uh, the freaking Punisher game that we needed and we're dying to see.
Oh yeah, I was so excited when I first heard that they were coming out with the Punisher game. And that was like what back in 2005.
2000, they announced it in 2004. I think it was released in 2005.
I was so excited. I went out and got it for the PS2, and my God, talk about graphic. I love the fact that you can torture people to get information, and the various ways you can torture people. You know, bring down a window on someone's head. Wasn't there a vice grip you can stick your head in and squeeze it?
Oh yeah.
Oh, it's great.
And the great thing about the game to me was there was always something around that you could use, and they got. I swear they probably had meetings for this game and was like, how can we kill bad guys? What can we use to torture bad guys? And they would come up with a list of these things. For every environment, there was always something like you're in an auto body shop and they had a vat of molten chrome and you could
Yeah.
stick their face close to it And if you decided you wanted to kill them, you dunked their head in chrome. When they came out, they were nice and shiny.
Yep, yep.
A piranha tank. That was one of my favorites. You dunk their head in a piranha tank. When you pull the head back up, most of the meat's been eaten, and there's still a piranha wiggling around on his head, taking a chunk out of it. Yeah, I just so slurred that to a chunk.
Are you drunk?
I'm tired. Drunk is gonna be in a bit.
Nice.
But even if you didn't have any of those around, you could choke an enemy until you killed them or got the information out of them or punched them continuously in the face or even curb stomped them.
Yeah. I think one of my favorite like random things was you could take a paper cutter and you can rip off the handle and use it as a weapon.
Yes. It was so much the Punisher, and the one thing I do remember liking was the fact that they got Thomas Jane to voice the Punisher in that.
Yeah, yeah, it definitely coincided with the movie release. It wasn't based on the movie, but it was more based toward the comic books. But the fact they were able to bring him over from the movie to voice the character was awesome.
Yeah, and his voice, he does a really good Punisher. Like I said, he was underwritten in the movie, and but his enthusiasm to play the Punisher really does kind of show, even in the movie, but in the game, so much more.
Oh yeah, and it's definitely one of my favorite Xbox games of all time, and it's definitely my favorite Punisher game of all time.
Yeah, I had played it on the PC, and I really loved it on the PC. When I got my Xbox, I the first game I wanted was The Punisher, and I'm glad to have a copy of that. Now I will admit that the control scheme doesn't really it shows its age, but it's still like I've got to go through and play it just to do all those kill death blows again to torture countless enemies.
Oh yeah, definitely. It's well worth a pickup.
Yeah, it's a must if you're a Punisher fan. I'm hoping they'll come out with a new one here on the current gen consoles or maybe the next gen consoles sometime soon. I would really like to see a new Punisher game and done as well as that one.
Oh yeah, definitely, definitely. I know that there was no Punisher games on the last generation of consoles,
No,
which is kind of lacking. But I believe the Punisher game didn't do very well. It didn't sell well.
it didn't. That's what I had read actually, and I mean that's a shame because it was a really good, satisfying shooter. One thing that always sticks in my head with that game was you ended up I don't remember what character it was you ended up killing, but like all of his goons end up showing up at his funeral, and it's like it starts out and you see all of them in the crowd mourning and everything, and it just says like push X to it was just like push X to remove lid or whatever, and it's like the freaking Punisher is in the casket, kicks open the lid of the casket, has a big old light machine gun, and you just literally just mow them all down.
Yep, that was definitely a satisfying part of the game. It's just like that is so Punisher.
Yeah, it takes them a good minute to get out of that casket, but I mean, you mow down so many guys, and it's like, yes, this is what the Punisher is. I'm playing the Punisher. How badass do I feel right now?
Right, exactly.
So there you go.
There you go. So if you can find yourself a copy, you can probably find them for under $5. I know on eBay they go for about $10, which is kind of out there for a price. But if you can find it, pick it up. It's definitely worth a playthrough.
Yeah, I think I can't remember my copy I got from a used game store for it was either $4 or $7. So it's worth it and then some. I would still buy it at $30-$40. It's still a good game.
Oh yeah, definitely, definitely, definitely a great game.
So I know you were the man with all the notes and everything like that, and I know you probably have a list, a ton of other games you could mention.
Um, I got a couple more, and we pretty much touched on everything I have on my list, either in passing or in great detail. But one game that I did want to mention, because we've been showing a lot of love to Marvel, and we've not hit on any of the DC games
Yeah.
except for a couple Batmans. But one game that came out, I believe it was 2 years ago or so, Injustice: Gods Among Us.
And that was one I was gonna mention too. Before we ended the show, that is a big one. That is a really good game.
It's a great game. I'm not a huge fighting game kind of person because I suck at combos. I really do. I love playing them. I mean, I love like the Mortal Kombat's and I love all the games I mentioned tonight. But um, I'm just not really good at them. But Injustice: Gods Among Us is just it's a well written game for one. I mean, they released a comic book series based on the game. It kind of came out about the same time, and the comic's really good because it kind of goes more in detail about the story of how this alternate world of the Injustice DC characters came about. And but I mean, it is the games is written so well. The graphics are great. The fight moves are awesome. The character selection is great, and I mean the DLC for it and all the different skin packs you can get for it is just amazing. Uh, I love getting like all the different Batman skins, like the Blackest Night skins are great. The Red Sun skins from the Superman Red Sun graphic novel. That's a great skin also. I mean, there's just so many great skins for these characters, and it just adds more value to the game. You're able to download General Zod for free.
Really?
Yeah, from
I
the Superman movie.
I didn't I didn't know you were able to download Zod for free. See, I had bought it on the Xbox, and then I stopped playing it. And here, just recently, for this month of PlayStation Plus, they made it free to download, the Ultimate Edition.
Oh, nice. And it should be included then.
Exactly, yeah. They got Zod. They actually have Scorpion from Mortal Kombat as
Yep.
a character on there. Anyway, there was him, and then there was Lobo.
Right.
And Lobo, like, I got to play him for the first time just last night, and his like super move had me just rolling because he knocks the crap out of the enemy, ends up pulling his motorcycle, gets the enemy in behind it, and then like before he guns it, turns around, flips him off, and then guns it and causes the thrusters to burn their face.
Nice.
So, but yeah, great story, and I mean to kind of put it out there for everybody because it's the basis of the whole story. It isn't really spoiling much because, like I said, very beginning, Superman goes freaking bonkers because like Joker comes to Metropolis, sets off a nuke, killing Lois Lane, and that just sets up a series of events just crazy.
Yep. Superman goes a little off the deep end. But it makes for a really great game.
Yeah, well, also it merges two universes together, so you're seeing crazy Superman, but the other dimension, there's the normal Superman that this tragedy hasn't happened to. You got two different versions of Batman. Two versions of every character, and like a lot of this, the good guys are bad guys. It's crazy, but it's a well put together story. And I remember playing through it and just being blown away. Like I had to fight through every fight, no matter how annoying the fight was or how cheap the characters get as the game progresses. I had to see it through to the end because I was like, man, this is good. What happens next?
Right. No, it's a very well put together game, and I'm very glad that they released it. And at one point, I did trade it in because for GameStop was offering some crazy money for trade in on that game, and so I traded that in for something else. I don't remember what it was. It wasn't as good, but I was able to reacquire it recently. So I got a physical copy of the game again, and damn, it's a good game.
It, yeah, I'm hoping they do another one like that. I hope it gets better, but being able to pit Batman versus Joker in a fighting game and it actually be good, um, like that's what I was hoping for with Mortal Kombat versus DC. And I mean, while that game had its moments, it was awful.
It was weak, man. It's like you couldn't do any fatalities with the Mortal Kombat characters except for on Mortal Kombat characters. You couldn't do any fatalities on superheroes. And for some reason, DC had this weird thing where you could beat up Superman, you could destroy his S logo on his shirt, but you could not disturb his little curly Q hairstyle.
I always stayed intact, but everything else about him ripped, outfit, everything.
That was actually their thing. DC said you can do whatever you want to Superman, but you can't mess up his hair. It's like what? It's iconic. Okay, not as iconic as a Superman symbol. That's iconic,
Yeah.
but no, don't mess up his Jerry curl.
I I remember hearing something about that.
Yeah, that's the one thing. I was like, really, DC? That's your big. You can't do this game unless you abide by this one rule thing. I was like, wow, okay, all right,
That
DC, you get your priorities way off here.
yeah, they and then like the DC characters instead of fatalities they had what was it? Brutality.
Yeah, brutalities.
It's just them beating the crap out of whatever character they were fighting. It no.
It's it's the DC Universe's version of the fatalities. Remember
Yeah,
that back in the Mortal Kombat, like was it Mortal Kombat 3, 2, where they did the fatalities? I think it's 3.
I think it was 3-2. I'm pretty sure.
It's like, all right, this is getting a little ridiculous, guys.
And what just struck me as funny. I remember when they were working on the game and there was speculation of what characters were going to be in it and everything. It was like, well, wait a minute, Superman. How is a Mortal Kombat character going to beat the living crap out of Superman? They're like, oh, he's weak against magic.
Yes,
Like
because magic's real.
it's like, wait, what? So every Mortal Kombat character is magical. I mean, what about Jax? I mean, seriously, what?
What about Johnny Cage? Is he magic? I thought he's just a crappy actor.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sorry. Yeah, I mean, I could see maybe Sub-Zero since yeah, the Frost thing is sort of a magic thing, but Scorpion, what? His spear is straight up magic no matter what. I don't know. Just
Anyone who can wander around with a skull for a head is gotta be magic. I'm sorry.
yeah,
I
yeah,
mean, I know technically we all have skulls on, but that's his actual face.
yeah. Oh,
So
yeah, but
the only person I could see maybe beating Superman would be Raiden because he's a god.
yeah, and I think later on in Mortal Kombat versus DC, I think it does come down to Raiden versus Superman.
I don't remember. I kind of purged that game from my memory. I just remember I rented it, I played it, beat it, and I was like, okay, I'm done.
Well, the thing for me was when I bought uh, Injustice, I bought it at Walmart, and it was they had a thing going on where you bought Injustice, but it also included Mortal Kombat versus DC. So I
Yeah,
was
I
like,
remember that package, and I kicked myself in the ass 'cause I bought mine at GameStop, and it didn't come with the Marvel versus DC, and I wish it did.
yeah, so I mean, I was like, "Hey, cool, awesome. I'll buy that with it." I don't think I've popped it into my Xbox because my buddy, when we were roommates, he had bought it, so I just played his copy, and my copy has never been played.
Nice.
So there you go. Just a really good game. It does a really good job telling a good story. The combat in it's great. The leveling up, the progression system is really cool. Just everything about it's pretty darn cool.
Yep. The only thing that's not cool about it is Aquaman.
Aquaman's never cool,
That's true.
even though they're making a movie out of him, and it's gonna be the dude from Game of Thrones, Jason Momoa. He's playing him.
They should have done a nod to Entourage and gotten that kid to play it. You ever see that show?
No.
There's a whole entire story arc where the main character in Entourage plays Aquaman in a James Cameron version of Aquaman the movie.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, it's pretty funny.
It still doesn't make me want to see it, but that sounds funny though.
It was a pretty good story arc. It's like, really? Of all the characters you can pick, you pick Aquaman? All right.
Yeah, whatever. Whatever's clever.
Mm-hmm.
So
It was just a nice little way to kind of poke fun at the boom of the superhero movie genre that kind of exploded in the mid 2000s.
yeah, and it hasn't slowed down since.
Nope.
I don't think it will for a while, especially with Batman versus Superman coming out next year. Well, 2016. I mean, technically we're not in 2015 yet, so
Not yet, but
I can't wait.
all I can say is it better be good.
I think it will be. I think it really will.
Because
So.
if it's not, I'm not going to be happy.
There ain't shit you can do about it either.
Hey, I got a voice. I can complain.
Yeah, I think everybody does online. So,
Yes, sir.
all right. So I can't think of any others right now. It's 2 o'clock in the morning and I'm on empty.
Right. I pretty much gone through all my notes of the games I wanted to touch on. There's still tons of games out there. There's some really bad ones like Superman 64, Superman Returns for the 360 and PS3. There's a lot of really bad Superman games. Let's just say that.
Superman always gets a really bad rap. The only good game he's ever really been in is Injustice. So I can't think of any other good games he's been in. Even on Atari back in the day, it was still just awful. Try the NES Superman. There you go.
I've never played that one.
It's awful. I remember renting it and just being pissed.
Nothing worse than renting a horrible game.
If I was to talk about it right now, this show would run on quite a while longer, and I know we're wanting to wrap it up. There's a lot of good ones. Just be careful because with superhero games, there's more misses than there are hits. But when they're hits, they are freaking awesome.
Fantastic, yeah. But down in the comments, why don't you go ahead and leave us any games we might have missed, your favorites, or just some bad ones that we didn't touch on tonight.
Right. I know there's a ton out there that we didn't even touch on or probably didn't even get near touching on. And yeah, definitely we'd like to hear and find out what you guys think. I mean, heck, it could always lead to another episode talking about it.
I mean, there's so much fodder in the cannon for superhero games that we could do another episode further on down the line if we wanted to.
Heck yeah, we like talking about it anyway.
Superheroes are always awesome.
Most of the time.
Most of the time, yeah.
I don't agree with Aquaman, so he ain't awesome.
I didn't say all superheroes are awesome. I said superheroes are awesome.
Okay, as long as we got that straight too.
Yep. So just go ahead and hit the like button, subscribe, and any comments, put them on down there. Now, if you think that we should have talked more about, I don't know, the glory of the Superman video games, and throw it on down there, or if you want to say, well, technically, Punisher's not a superhero, he's a vigilante. Go ahead and do that too, that's fine.
Yeah. Well, so would be Batman too. They're more realistic to me than actual superheroes, and it's like, hey, I could be one of them one day. Damn it!
I can be a psychopath running around in a costume killing people or throwing batarangs. It could happen.
Yeah, I should be the guy that knows martial arts and has all the gadgets.
As long as you don't talk in a raspy voice, we're good.
What are you talking about?
You know what I'm talking about.
I don't know. Oh my gosh. Okay, no more of that. So yeah, like, comment, subscribe. Of course, show suggestions are greatly appreciated and welcome. Uh, on Facebook, look up the Classically Retarded Show. If you're seeing this from Facebook, go to the Classically Retarded Show on YouTube, look us up, subscribe, all that jazz.
Yep, and tell your friends, tell your enemies, tell anyone who will listen.
Yeah, doesn't matter who it is, get them to hit that subscribe button.
Yep,
Let's make this something big. You need to tell them and yourself, I'm classically retarded.
Me too.
So with that, I'm gonna wrap that up and wrap this up. I think you're about ready to.
Yeah, it's pretty late in the morning, and I got kids coming home tomorrow morning.
And I just need to go to bed simply because I just need sleep and I'm lazy.
Lazy!
I'm lazy. I want to play another game so bad tonight, but I'm so tired. Screw that.
There's always Liana.
Yeah, that's true. There will be. Oh yes, there will be. All right. Well, I'm done. I'm done. I'm finished. I can't do it no more.
Sticking forks in ya.
Anyway, of course, I am Classic Game Freak.
And I'm retired by choice.
You all have a good night, good day, whenever you're listening to it. So, later.
Peace.
Can't get enough gaming talk from just this episode? Then head on over to our Facebook page at www.facebook.com/classicallyretardedshow. There you can keep up to date on gaming news, sales and deals we've spotted on the interwebs, giveaways, podcast updates, as well as anything and everything retro.